Unpacking is a story of things and boxes. A bright, relaxing puzzle game helping a mover unpack their life in a variety of new places. Open boxes, unpack things, find a spot for those things. And it is one of my favorite games in recent memory because it resonates with me. Think about how you pack things. Does everything have a designated space or box? Do you keep items together or just start putting whatever will fit into whatever boxes have room? Is this something you think about or just do? I ask because I think about it all the time. My life is a story of my things and my boxes. I try to deny it, but I am something of a nomadic homebody, a transient homemaker. My favorite place in the world is home, but the location of my home has changed so many times ever since I had the reins to move. Different houses, different dorms, different regions, different people, different living arrangements. Sometimes across town or across campus. Other times across state lines. Sometimes many state lines. I am a wandering hermit in motion from one shell to another, even as I am settled into the one I have now. The roaming lifestyle isn't ideal for someone as materialistic as me, but it always gives me something to look forward to. It's helped me find my rhythm, my collection of Sterilite boxes, knowing what of my belongings fit best in what container, where it can be stacked most reliably on a U-Haul truck, what order things will need to be packed in to maximize space and support items in transit. For as many times as I've moved, I'm as comfortable behind the wheel of a U-Haul truck as I am my own compact car. Logistically, the moves get better and smoother every time. Emotionally, I'm always excited to reach my new destination. Moving somewhere new is always thrilling to me. Deciding what I can purge, remembering what's coming with, planning out placement, what my space is going to look and feel like for however long I'm there. It's all potential and new beginnings bundled under a thin layer of anxiety and nerves. But the planning, the process, the actual moving always pales in comparison to the best part, the unpacking. My story of boxes is not about the boxes, but the things they carry within. And mine is not the only one. This is the story of Unpacking. It is the story of one person, our character, told through various moves in her life. First, she's organizing a new bedroom in her childhood home. Toys, stuffed animals, crayons, clothes, all finding their place in the bright bedroom real estate. And then she goes to college. Now she's responsible for organizing a tiny bathroom and a kitchenette with the bare necessities of a child making the transition to adulthood. A shared space with roommates, moving in with a partner, moving back in with parents, venturing out again, snapshots, preludes, and postscripts to big chapters in her life story. There is, after all, no better time to start a new chapter than when you go somewhere new. The character starts by picking shoes out of disparate boxes or bathroom items from a kitchen box. What's the story there? Was she excited, nervous, or confused as she packed these things up? In time, she becomes a whiz at packing and unpacking. Everything is organized and has its box. Guided by our own hand, we decide how the character will order her space, how to make her new shell feel more lived in from day one. We empathize with her making difficult choices as we live through those moments with her. We move through her boxes, finding a spot for all of her stuff, one way or another. Clothes, keepsakes, supplies, pieces of gratification, points of pride, memories of where she's been, what she's done, all has a place in a box on its way to a new shell. Unpacking is a story told through the literal process of unpacking, rediscovering what we put in our rucksack of a truck to take on the next leg of our journey, what we chose to leave behind, what we had to leave behind, and what we've held on to throughout the entire journey. This is a story of unpacking. Unpacking in reality takes two forms for me. A traditional transition where I put my things in boxes and then remove them from boxes. It's exciting knowing there's a move speeding up from the horizon. I pack away everything but the essentials, impatiently waiting until I can get the truck like some kind of strange reversal of winter holiday tropes. Then I get to the new digs, take out the boxes, return the truck, and find a place for everything again. There's music, reminiscing, sometimes skipping, and everything finds a new home within the home. But the other form is the great unpacking. Those long stretches of time where my belongings sat in boxes, unable to be unpacked for lack of space. Moving in with a friend after being let go from a job. Moving in with my mother after workplace trauma fully caught up with me. Moving in with different friends after finally extricating myself from the toxic work I'd based my life around. I was lucky enough to have a place to go with all of them, but most of my belongings remained boxed away, whether in storage units or in a wall of containers spanning any square inch of a basement I could stack upon. After each of those speed bumps in my life, I've loaded up my belongings in a 15-foot truck and excitedly made my way to my new home, whatever form that home takes. The excitement is palpable. I'm vibrating for most of the trip. I can finally unpack the things that have sat in storage for days, weeks, months, or longer. I can listen to my vinyl collection again. I can turn the crank on an ancient snow globe and listen to its music box again. I can put out my old photo albums, thumb through them when I miss home or family again. I can use my favorite pan, with my favorite knife, with my favorite cutting board again. I can use my things again. I just have to unpack them. There's always a calm before the storm of normalcy and routine. A lull period after I've returned a truck, returned home, and just exist with my stuff. Usually it's been so long since I packed them up that I can't remember what's in which box. I just have to start unpacking. It's one of the most powerful states of flow I've fallen into. Finding the perfect spot for shelving units and furniture, getting truly lost in possessions I haven't held in so long, getting excited for everything I can get back to, all the new things I can start. It's like picking up a new book in a familiar series. Both ways are wonderful, allowing me to take stock again, to find the perfect places for the things I've carried with me from place to place. To be reminded of who I am based on what I have, what I care about, what I love. One of my greatest joys is someone letting me wander around their home. It is a peek into their souls more than most conversations have been. Not in terms of how they keep their home. I know what a menace children, pets, and the American work schedule are to those best laid plans. No, I like to wander and see them in terms of what they have. I'm talking staircases or ramps for their pets because they're too old or too small to get up into bed on their own. Wargame miniatures. You can tell a lot by how many are painted, or simply how many they have, and how they're organized or displayed. What books, movies, or games do they have out on their shelf? How are they sorted? What looks new? What looks faded? What looks used? Everything has a story to tell. Unpacking gives us that glimpse through the character's many moves. From childhood onward, what has she consistently taken with her? Primarily, her stuffed pig. When she has to be selective about what and how much to bring, that little pig has gone everywhere with our character. Time wears it down, necessitating patchwork and sewing to keep the seams intact, but the pig remains steadfast. An anchor in unpredictable times, in bad times, in good times. A stalwart companion, unflinching in the face of what our character may struggle with. It's in memories of where we've been, little keepsakes or photos to remind us of other times, to provide a moment's escape in a time of struggle. Trips overseas, snapshots of unbridled joy, little moments contained in things for when we need them the most. Or maybe it's in the evolution of a thing. A young character starts out with a box of vibrant crayons on their bedroom desk, giving way to the good colored pencils. You can tell they're good because they're in a metal case. High-end marker packs find their purchase. Drawing tablets start to crop up. The computer advances from a beige brick to a sleek matte black powerhouse, capable of keeping up with the changes in artistic expression. Our character has always been an artist. It's just the way she expresses herself changes. Maybe it's in what we take from others. Not from stealing, but by making part of who they are part of who we are. The roommate is something of an entomologist. Soon after, our character has a stag beetle pet making moves with her. The roommate gets our character into some kind of tabletop role-playing game, and soon enough, our character's got dice and rule books jammed into her moving boxes, all long after she has left this shared space. But it's also in what we reject, not in object, but in action. After a breakup where our character had to wedge herself into someone's existing life, she endeavors to be better when she starts a new relationship. Where once she had to claw for space to place her items around her exes, now she makes room, makes space, makes the place shared from the start. She makes it feel like a home from the get-go so that her new partner doesn't feel ostracized like she did. She is constantly evolving and changing, both in what she has and what she does, but in the end, she is still herself. These are stories of progress and change, of passion giving way to function before allowing those things to coexist. It's a bed full of stuffed animals paring down to fewer and fewer as time goes on. It's a kitchen becoming more and more functional and equipped for all sorts of tasks, while old standbys still make their way from place to place. It's trying to make space for yourself and making space for others, of things existing separately before slowly blending together. We are a communal species. The story of our character is told by the people who shared a space with her and the things she brings with her on her journey. I often describe myself as a person of function rather than form. I pride myself on optimization of space, using verticality wherever I can for storage and display. In the end, the function is ultimately in service to form. Those same shelves are beset by knickknacks and tchotchkes, plushes from games I love, mementos from college, little handmade crafts from friends. Things that I could pick up from a toy aisle at any big box mart that mean more to me because somebody saw it, purchased it, and gifted it to me. My own cadre of stuffed dogs, some older than my own memories. Once staples in my bedtime ritual, now they sit on top of my wardrobe. I fear wearing them down any further, but I still want them nearby. A dream catcher, my first cross-cultural exposure to storytelling, hangs in my bedroom even as I endeavor to block every ray of sunlight from creeping in. A small collection of framed cross-stitches, as much a demonstration of a thing that brings me joy to do as they are reminders and anchors for a world bent on eroding the individual. Video games, once loosely collected on shoddily constructed cabinets, now are organized on a dedicated set of shelves and custom cases for the old cartridges. Computers have evolved from first laptops to the next affordable generation before I impulsively snagged a tower PC for the first time since Windows XP, hooked into the TV as its monitor. Ultimately, it settled into a sprawling nest of wires, monitors, and desk space as I try to use the technology for the things I love. Co-opting a friend's love of Dungeons & Dragons spiraled into my own eclectic library of rulebooks across the TTRPG spectrum. Cooking with my partner has resulted in self-published cookbooks, a favorite cast-iron skillet, and a designated curry spoon. My book collection almost exclusively consists of gifted words. Everything from Calvin and Hobbes anthologies that once belonged to my father, to a spectrum of feminist reformist literature from my brother, the Divine Comedy from my mother, myriad friends giving me poetry anthologies, picture books, studies of identity and video games, and a couple of quiet meditations on life from a grandfatherly coworker, now long past. A piece of them given to me in print. I still identify as a person of function rather than form, but that function is so that I have as much room as possible to display these myriad pieces of me. Pieces I have both taken from and been given by others, pieces I have created for myself, and pieces so old I cannot remember from when they originated. But still, they travel with me. There are two stories in Unpacking. The first is the story about us, the ones controlling and guiding the character. It's about solving each new domicile's puzzle, finding the perfect spot to display a group of tchotchkes, or the ideal layout of a workspace, or in how you would best organize a scattered wardrobe. Barring that, it's about finding a space for a thing the character refuses to leave behind, the puzzle of where this can fit among everything else. It's telling of us in a way. In what order do you sort the clothes into the closet, if there's any order at all? What gets prime placement on the bedside table? Which hand towel stays out and which go into storage? Are awards displayed proudly or humbly tucked away? Is there comfort in being surrounded by the trappings of our childhood, or shame in that attachment? The character may bring these items with, but it is up to the player, to their individual perspective, to guide that particular story. The other story is about the character. On that vein, one of the things that sets Unpacking apart is its choice of narrative silence. Only small sound effects and background music come through, setting the stage and mood every time you help the character unpack a new space. Every stage is bereft of people. There's no dialogue, no conversation, no other characters to navigate around as you unpack, just their things that occasionally need to be planned around. The character jots their musings in a photo album after each level, depending on which room you end the level in, but nothing is ever spoken. That's where Unpacking storytelling is the most powerful. On the one hand, you can just enjoy the vibes and the satisfaction of putting things in places, like a freeform puzzle. But if you slow down, take in the space, take in the things, the story won't be told to you necessarily, but you can still experience it. There's the palpable excitement in the air as a child unpacks their toys and baubles all over their new domain. The beauty of simplicity from the perspective of someone older looking back. The nerves of going out on your own, manifesting in disparate items being packed in the same box, mismatched socks popping up unexpectedly. The joy of a shared space, of overlapping passion and hobbies laying the foundation for a shared growth. The difficulty of feeling like you don't belong, of being a middle piece in a puzzle that's all edges, of compromise at the expense of your achievements and pride. The sting of admitting defeat, the triumph of starting over, the anticipation of something new. Unpacking asks that you sit with those thoughts and feelings for a while, giving the snapshots and emotions time and room to breathe. It tells a chaptered story in setup and gameplay and reflects our own perspectives back at us, all without a single spoken word. My own packing process has been something for me alone. Materialistic as I am, I want to be certain that my things are being handled and packed with the care I want them to be. It's a ritual, equal parts a final moment with an item as much as it is a game of Tetris, finding just the right spot to maximize each box's space. But once that moving truck rolls in, it becomes a different story. It's one I've experienced with family and in-laws moving to a smoke-stinking second-floor apartment, or written entirely alone in the death knells of being let go from my first job. Family, coworkers, and excitable subordinates have all come in clutch to help me put the boxes into the truck. And then I leave. All times but the first, I have driven the moving truck alone. Alone with my thoughts, with the road, with whatever radio I could get tuned or whatever podcasts I could play. It's unexpectedly peaceful once you get out of the inherent fear of driving a heavy box filled with all your worldly possessions. Even with podcasts going in the background, it's not like a conversation or a dialogue. It's white noise to entertain me on the long stretches of highway. It's a journey I take without words. And then I arrive. The anticipation grows as I get everything out of the truck because I can feel the excitement. I love what comes after. The boxes are in the new place, the truck is returned, and I am left with an empty space that needs filling. It's a story told in the little moments of digging out meager food rations that made the trip, or finding an acceptable takeout place for the first couple nights before the kitchen is ready to be used. Reassembling the shelves, the storage carts, the workstation as I find a perfect spot for them and what they are made to carry. Shuffling the knickknacks and keepsakes to a new home, no longer where they once held purchase in the last place, but to a new perch. Desperately reassembling a dismantled bed frame so I could maybe get some sleep after a long day of moving. My favorite part of all is getting lost in my things. We don't experience that so much in Unpacking the game because the things aren't ours. We can surmise any number of stories from what the character has brought with her, but they're just variously sized things that need a place in a new space. To us, pieces of a puzzle. But when I unpack my things, that's an opportunity to take stock, to remember, to reminisce now that I'm holding each of these things in my hands. I've stopped for hours just to thumb through childhood photo albums, to have snapshots and moments in the past come back to my mind. I've unearthed sentimental gifts from long ago that I'd forgotten about because they were in a box for so long. Artwork that needs a new spot gives way to remembering what these pieces mean to me or what it meant to create it. Kitchen appliances and tools, each a reminder of what I could make as the potential and desire to cook floods over me. In those moments, both routine and exceptional, it was quiet. It was just me filling out a space bit by bit, my mind pinballing in all different directions. I would switch from logistics and planning to nostalgia and memories, then to what I could do in this space, with this space, all without missing a beat. Nothing spoken, nothing said. A wordless story I keep telling myself with every move. At the end of the day, packing, moving, and unpacking is a lot. It can be draining, no matter how much help you enlist and no matter how many times you've done it before. But just as frustrating as the whole process can be, there's nothing like having all your boxes inside and ready to be placed in their new spot. It's the start of something new, a chance to set the stage for your life's next big production. Unpacking is a story about objects and all the stories those objects tell. It's a story told by the objects that are taken with, the objects left behind, the objects that return. It's small, simple stories. How a cookie bag or jar makes every move with our character, or how a stuffed pig is worn down with time, use, and travel, and given the care it needs to keep traveling. It's big stories. What it means to advance our craft, or what a seemingly mundane item truly means to you. But unpacking is a story about people, too. How, in the kindest way, we are defined by our possessions, by the things we have at a certain time in our life, what we choose to let go of, what we happily return to, what we bring together, what we seek out in our life, and what our tools are for getting there. It is a story of things, both functional and meaningful, and people, both in what they leave us and what they teach us. It is a story of who we are and what we choose to carry.